Jimmy Kimmel just played Trump like a fiddle, and the results were chef's kiss spectacular. Last night, the late-night host didn't just deliver jokes. He executed a masterclass in psychological warfare that sent the former president into a tailspin of insecurity.
The best thing Trump has ever done for America was undo the incredibly dumb thing he did.
That's right. In less than a week, Kimmel managed to bait Trump into completely reversing his Liberation Day tariff policy.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day.
Revealing what might be his deepest insecurity. He's terrified of being seen as economically incompetent. Let's break down how this brutal comedy assassination went down and why it matters way more than you might think. The drama started on April 2nd, when Trump proudly announced his Liberation Day tariffs, a sweeping 10% baseline tariff on most imports, with higher country-specific rates set to kick in a week later.
April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again.
This wasn't just another policy announcement. This was Trump's economic victory lap, his chance to flex those supposed business muscles he's been bragging about since the 80s. What followed was utter chaos. Markets plunged, trillions were wiped from global markets, and retirement accounts took a nosedive. But hey, at least Trump's golf handicap stayed consistent, right? By April 7th, the S&P 500 had lost over 10% of its value since the previous Thursday. That's not just a bad day. That's maybe I should check if my 401k still exists territory. But instead of rethinking his approach, Trump doubled down in the most Trump way possible, by inventing a new insulting nickname for anyone panicking about losing their savings. On Monday, April 7th, as markets continued their free fall, Trump posted this gem on Truth Social. Don't be weak, don't be stupid, don't be a panican. A new party based on weak and stupid people. Be strong, courageous, and patient, and greatness will be the result. Yes, he really tried to make panican happen. It's like the fetch of economic policy. It's never going to happen, Don. This is a man who once thought Covfefe would just blend into the news cycle. His nickname game has clearly not improved with age. That evening, Kimmel dedicated his monologue to what he called a
terrifying day on Wall Street.
And yes, he spelled it with 2 R's. Because puns are apparently how we cope with financial catastrophe now.
Hey, look, I'm not an expert when it comes to the economy, but I am an expert when it comes to nicknames. And panicking is not going to catch on, okay?
This is where Kimmel really turned the screws. Instead of just mocking the silly nickname, he flipped Trump's own rhetoric against him.
Don't be weak, don't be stupid. That's right, be strong and stupid.
Boom. With 3 simple words, Kimmel hit Trump's biggest insecurity: the fear of being seen as stupid, especially about the economy. Remember, this is a man whose entire identity is built on being perceived as a business genius. The guy wrote The Art of the Deal for crying out loud. Well, had it ghostwritten, but you get the point. And Kimmel twisted the knife further.
The guy who went bankrupt 6 times is going to steer us through this disaster he created for no reason at all.
Ouch. Even I felt that one. Kimmel didn't just go for a laugh. He targeted the foundation of Trump's self-image with surgical precision. That same Monday, when reporters asked Trump if he was considering pausing the tariffs, he defiantly responded, "We're not looking at that." The White House even labeled pause rumors as fake news. Case closed, right? But here's where it gets delicious. Just 48 hours after Kimmel's savage takedown, after Trump had spent days calling everyone else weak and stupid, guess what happened?
US President Donald Trump has backed down on his so-called reciprocal tariffs, announcing a 90-day pause on the increased taxes worldwide.
Total economic retreat. Trump announced a 90-day pause on most of the country-specific tariffs, reverting them to the 10% baseline. Even better? Just hours before this reversal, Trump had posted, "This is a great time to buy," on Truth Social, which is either incredible market timing or the economic equivalent of saying, "I meant to do that," after tripping in public. His explanation for the pause directly confirmed Kimmel's portrayal.
People were a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid. Or last night where people were getting a little queasy.
Wait, who's the panicking now? Now, I'm not saying markets alone forced Trump's hand. The trillions in losses definitely played a part, but the timing is suspicious. Kimmel has a documented history of getting under Trump's skin like no other comedian. In 2018, Trump was so rattled by Kimmel's jokes that he reportedly had White House officials call Disney executives twice trying to get Kimmel to tone it down. According to a February 2023 Rolling Stone report, Trump directed White House staff to call senior Disney executives, ABC's parent company, to complain about Kimmel's jokes and demand they rein in the host. When you're the president and you're trying to silence a comedian, that's not just thin skin. That's epidermis so transparent you can see your own skeleton. And Kimmel knows exactly which buttons to push.
The best thing Trump has ever done for America was undo the incredibly dumb thing he did. Bottom line, this was not his plan. He probably didn't even have a plan. He's tariffing through the whole thing.
See what he did there? By framing Trump as impulsive and clueless about economics, Kimmel hit the former president's deepest insecurity. This is where things get really interesting. Kimmel isn't just making jokes, he's engaged in sophisticated psychological warfare against a former president known for his fragile ego. By specifically targeting Trump's economic competence, Kimmel is attacking the core of Trump's self-image. Trump has built his entire brand around being a successful businessman, despite a track record that includes multiple bankruptcies, failed ventures, and a documented history of stiffing contractors. When Kimmel sarcastically says,
"Be strong and stupid,"
he's not just making a quick joke. He's flipping Trump's own rhetoric and using it to attack his deepest fear, being perceived as intellectually inferior or incompetent. And Kimmel hasn't let up. The next night, he delivered perhaps his most devastating blow yet.
He drove the economy into a sand trap and took a mulligan.
Using golf terminology, that's like psychological precision bombing, speaking Trump's language while simultaneously mocking his competence. And in his most recent monologue, Kimmel delivered what might be his most insightful critique yet.
And now, our job, I guess, is to sit back and watch him take credit for solving the financial crisis he created.
That's not just comedy. That's a frighteningly accurate psychological assessment of Trump's leadership style. According to White House sources, Trump was obsessed with countering Kimmel's narrative following the tariff pause. He reportedly demanded his aides find data proving the market rally after his reversal was the biggest ever, revealing his desperation to be seen as an economic savior after Kimmel portrayed him as an economic disaster. This obsession with being perceived as economically competent isn't new. The difference now is that Kimmel has zeroed in on this specific insecurity and is exploiting it mercilessly. This isn't just about jokes and hurt feelings. It's about how easily a sitting president can be baited into reversing major economic policy because his ego can't handle being portrayed as economically incompetent. Kimmel didn't just make Trump look silly, he exposed a dangerous vulnerability. If a late-night comedian can trigger a policy reversal through targeted mockery, imagine what foreign leaders might accomplish with the same tactics. This is especially concerning given Trump's documented obsession with being respected by other world leaders. If economic competence is indeed his biggest insecurity, adversaries could potentially manipulate U.S. policy by strategically attacking Trump's economic decisions. Beyond the political theater, Trump's tariff fiasco had real consequences for ordinary Americans. Retirement accounts took significant hits, businesses faced uncertainty, and economic anxiety spread. When Kimmel mocks Trump's economic policies, he's not just scoring political points. He's channeling the legitimate frustration of people whose financial security was threatened by impulsive decision-making. So what have we learned? Trump's deepest insecurity isn't about his hair, his hands, or even his crowd sizes. It's about being seen as economically incompetent. And Jimmy Kimmel, armed with nothing but jokes and a platform, just proved it to the world by effectively trolling the president into a major policy reversal. As Kimmel puts it, we're only on
Day 79 of Trumpomania.
Who knows what other insecurities will be exposed in the coming months? Meanwhile, the markets are still down over 1,600 points since this whole tariff fiasco began. But hey, at least we got some good jokes out of it. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit subscribe for more political analysis that doesn't require an economics degree. Just a healthy appreciation for chaos and comedy. This is Viral Vote, cutting through the noise to bring you the stories that actually matter.